So I wanted to talk about karma, the true law of action. The world, the earth is non-personal. Karma is non-personal. It's not out to get you. It's not out to help you. It's just movement, period. So many spiritual teachings in this new wave era are kind of hijacking and like filtering into business concepts. And those really are missing the point. So it'd be helpful if you could make that divide for yourself and understand what's for your business and what's for yourself. I'm not here to give you business advice. I'm going to give you advice about yourself. I've had a story about my car, 2 different cars for over a year's period. I had a minivan that I was camping in, and I paid it off and was like, all right, now I'm going to fix it up and, let it ride. And as soon as I started fixing it up, like, it totally fell apart. Like, $3,000 fell apart. So I bought a new one. And that wasn't an easy thing. And I ended up with one vehicle, like the only vehicle I could get approved for that fell within my parameters.
I was gonna write a blog, but I decided to do a video. I'm sitting in the parking lot. My car just died. It is November 21st. I just paid $400 yesterday. 2 weeks ago, I paid $460. 2 weeks before that, I paid $200. 2 weeks before that, I paid $100. A week before that, I paid $100. 2 months before that, I paid $2,000. A month before that, I paid $1,000. The month before that, I paid $1,000. The month before that, I paid $1,000. I've spent every single weekend in a mechanic shop. I've had 4 screws in my tires. I know all the tow companies. What the fuck?
So all signs pointed to the vehicle. I bought it. I drove it for maybe like a month or 2. I think I heard some ticking. And then I got an oil change. And then they said I had an oil leak. So I took it into somebody else and they said, no, and then I noticed that my alignment was off because the 2 new tires that were on the vehicle were wearing unevenly. So the saga continued, and it ended up being a lot of the same issues in the next vehicle, and I'm still in that saga. And I've put thousands and thousands and thousands again, and as the footage shows.
To add to the excitement, it's stormy now. I'm stuck in my car in a storm outside the mechanics. In an hour and a half, hopefully I'll be able to walk home and it won't pour rain on me. It's shaking the whole car. I'm watching the weather report.
So I'm at home stranded right now again. But all of it everything, because I would say that I've definitely been in my 7 years of bad luck, if there is such a thing. And in particularly, like in the last couple of years since moving to Hawaii, I've also really been under pressure. And it's been so ongoing that it's obviously like affecting me mentally. And so this is a process that I like to talk about and share. Because I think that, what it's doing to me is a positive thing, because that's what I'm going to look for. I'm going to look for the positive because fundamentally I believe that life is for me, not against me. I have come to realize that even though there is nothing against me, some people can actually be against me. So there's all these different levels of reality that I've been integrating into as an adult. The intense pressure that I've been under has basically brought me from a place of just simple naivete to wisdom, experience. I feel okay about those things. Definitely gaining some life skills. What the fuck do you think about my car right now? What I notice in a lot of these things is that there's a lot of self-blame. And I just don't believe in that, because I don't believe in the self. So how can you blame the self in a very redundant level? You can't. So you have to look at things much more abstractly than a lot of these spiritual teachings nowadays try to relate. They try to act as though like karma has like some direct memory that's gonna like get you back in a way that makes sense to you, or get the other person back in the way that makes sense to you. Like, it just does not even work that way. What karma truly is, it's a law of action, meaning if you take any action in any direction, it's gonna cause waves. It doesn't even like matter what happens after that, because it has nothing to do with a person. Self-responsibility obviously comes in unless of a spiritual level, right? We're human beings, so that is direct. I directly affect you, but that's not karma. That's human action towards another action. That's different. It's got nothing to do with it. Karma is law of putting energy into motion. Humans affecting each other are choices. Then you can start to look at yourself. So you can't really like say, oh, that person's got good karma or bad karma, because that just doesn't exist. Karma is motion. Things happening directly to people is a whole other cause and effect issue taking place. We got to separate these things and look at them differently, because they are different. Karma, the law of action itself, and how every human truly does participate in that, is because it's just the fundamental basis of being alive. You take a breathe, you take a breath, you've created karma. You take an inhale, you've created karma. You take an exhale, you've created karma. There's motion, and so it goes. That's all. So then forget about the personality, right? So it's always going to be a movement, right? And the fundamental truth of this energy, the fundamental truth of universal energy, is that it is based in chaos. So it truly does not have a memory and gets people back. It's not like that. So moving on, right? Just want to get real clear on what karma is. Karma, action. Personal responsibility, cause and effect. Totally different. And then in particular with the car, again, why would I be having some, because I guess what I'm kind of bubbling around is that You know, people ask, why is this happening? What's the meaning? I do, but I don't have to like beat myself up for it and be like, oh, I ate this chocolate cake, so that's why I've created bad karma and I get a flat tire. Like, that's retarded. We can't think that way. That is like hocus pocus stuff. It doesn't even like create any connection for us at all. So yeah, it was a great lesson to learn, and to just realize this is why these things are happening. It makes perfect sense. And what that gave me was the ability to do mundane tasks without feeling victimized or without feeling guilty. It was more like, okay, well, I just have to do this now. It brought me to a place where I can fully accept the hard work life takes, and to not try to like figure out a way to get out of it, or to feel guilty about it, or to feel punished by it. You know, I don't believe in like I'm gonna die and go to heaven and there's my rewards. I don't believe that at all. I believe the opposite. I believe that I am a spiritual being having a human experience, and that I came here. I wanted to manifest because I desire this experience. And that's what I'm going to be writing about in my second book, truly, is like the focus of our consciousness and realizing from the other way out, like, whoa, we're not outside looking in, we're inside looking out. We are trying to have this human experience, and as we do so, we're like, whoa, some of this stuff isn't that fun and friendly. You know, we all have different ways of looking at things. And that's another subject. But right now I just want to talk about the karma and the law of action and the law of just realizing, you know, subtly the lessons that can be learned. But don't beat yourself up thinking like, again, I love that example, you know, my tire's flat because I, you know, spoke poorly to somebody. That's not the way it works. There's always going to be energy moving. There's always phases in your life. There's always an unknown. You know, you just have to live with the unknown that you're just not going to know. And just do the work. Just do the work and be of good cheer. That's the most important part, and that's where this brought me. It brought me from a place, you know, many years ago where I felt like, you know, 6 bad days a month, that's nothing, because that was the experience I was having. I felt like, oh, those are really good odds. But honestly, I've been having the opposite experience where I'm like, oh my God, if I could just have 6 days a month, that would be great. And so it's wonderful to have the opportunity to see and experience the opposite and understand, like, wow, this is the opposite of how I have felt before. And I can handle this too. And I'm so grateful that I get the chance to share it with people too, because I don't think it's easy. And I think we do need to talk about it. We do need to help each other. I don't know where I'd be in my life if somebody like taught me all these things as a child, taught me some real life skills and energy and basic stuff that we really need to understand. All right, well, I feel like that covers enough. I'm pretty excited. I'm grateful. Yeah, so regardless of, you know, the compliment or the insult, remain unaffected. Regardless of, you know, the challenge or the ease, it's all temporary. Remain unaffected. And what is permanent is just that peace, that spiritual, eternal peace that we all feel. And that's what I was used to. That's the ease. I was used to that. So to have the opposite of all this struggle, I had to look for that universal peace in a different way. And it was so interesting because I found it in the exact same way. Like, you know, when I'm in my joy and ease, I could be like, it was so easy for me to just be like, look at the flowers. Life is amazing, right? But then when I got beat down by life, I was just like, oh my God, I've got to look for anything good. Oh, thank God there's a flower. I get to totally different way of looking at it. But at the same time, at the end of the day, those were the only things that mattered to me, whether I'm having ease or I'm having trouble. So that universal, just natural piece of being the human experience and like expressing myself through this feeling zone of earth, where like I'm expressing earth consciousness. Megan doesn't have a soul. I don't have a little personal storyline that travels through the galaxies. Like, that's retarded. I don't believe in that at all. That's fairy tales. Everything is energy. So I enjoy this body, this organism. I enjoy expressing myself as consciousness, as a spiritual, inanimate being. And I get a little bit of an anatomy right now. I get to play with this. And that's what I want. That's what I want for everybody. So we gotta, take it less personal and just allow for things to take place a little bit more ease. Another thing that came to mind was like the vision of me being that turtle in the ocean, just getting pounded. So I'll see you guys again. I should do that thing that everybody does because it's kind of neat. Don't take it personal. Don't cause trouble for people. It sucks. Think of people. Be careful with people. That cause and effect is real.